Hello everyone, my name is David Bradley. I'm with the Inland Northwest Blood Centers, and today I want to talk to you about something that 100% of us should do. Only 37% of us are qualified to do it, and out of the 37%, maybe 10% will do it. And I'm talking about donating blood. Donating blood. You know, saving a life has got to make you feel good, don't you think? Those of you out there that have saved a life or that know someone whose life was saved or your life was saved, how'd you feel? I mean, how did you feel? Like you were on top of the world, I'm sure. So if we feel good when we donate blood, why don't we do it? Why don't we do it? If we can do it, why don't we do it? It's a safe, selfless, necessary act. That's all it is, and it's simple. Well, we all have our reasons. I had mine too. So let me tell you a story. It's October in 1989. My first child is born, a girl. My wife and I did all the things that first-time parents do. We painted the baby's room. We shopped for clothes incessantly. We researched names for weeks and painstakingly picked one out. We had our bags packed in the closet, ready to go at a moment's notice. And I would started backing the car in so I could take off without having to back out into the street, just in case something might happen. So my daughter is born. It was a long, laborious labor. I'm holding her in my arms, not in my arms, in my hands. She's that small. I'm not used to holding something that small or that precious. I could feel her warmth through the receiving blanket, and I'm in bliss. I haven't slept for 2 days, and I'm in total bliss. This nurse comes up. Doesn't snatch, but grabs my baby, my daughter, this new human being, out of my hands, puts her in a warming tray underneath a warming light, turns back to me, and about that time I hear from another nurse, she's bleeding and I can't stop it. She's bleeding and I can't stop it. Words that I don't want to hear in a delivery room. So my wife was hemorrhaging blood, and hemorrhaging a lot of it. The nurse grabs my elbow, starts to walk me out. Another nurse, a senior nurse in this case, said, "Mr. Bradley, now, when anybody calls me Mr. Bradley, Mr. signifies 3 things to me. Number 1, they want something from me, like money. Number 2, I'm the oldest person in the room. Number 3, something is bad and may get worse." In this case, I already knew it was the third choice, the third item. Nurse said, "Mr. Bradley, your wife is hemorrhaging blood due to complications from the birth of your daughter. And we're going to do everything we can. We're going to do everything we can." Huh. I did not want to hear "we're going to do everything we can" either, because I'm in business, sales specifically. When I tell someone we're going to do everything we can, that means we're going to do everything we can, but we may not be able to solve the problem. When someone is talking to me and they say, "David, I'm going to do everything I can," what that means to me is they're going to do everything they can, but they don't have enough to get the job done. No, I didn't want to hear "we're going to do everything we can." That to me was not comforting. What I wanted to hear is, "David, you know what? Go outside, go downstairs, go across the street to Mickey's, knock back a couple, smoke a cigar, show those pictures of your new daughter, yuck it up a little bit, blow off a little steam, and come back directly." That's what I wanted to hear. But no, I didn't hear that. So I said, "What do you mean we're going to do everything we can?" And she said, there was a multi-car accident earlier today. Your wife is hemorrhaging blood, as you know. Her blood type is in high demand right now. There are several other people that need blood that are in this hospital, and we are trying to figure out a way to get everybody the blood they need. So I figured, well, that's no big deal. It's just blood, right? I didn't know at the time that you couldn't manufacture blood. It had to come from another human being. I did not know that the shelf life of blood was 42 days. I didn't know that every 2 seconds in the United States somebody needed blood. I didn't know that over 4.6 million people need blood every day. I didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew what this nurse told me, and that is, we're going to do everything we can. And then she said, do you have any family in town? Do I have any family in town? Why do I need family in town? Which we didn't. I said, no, we don't have family in town. Then she said, I suggest you call someone in your family, maybe your wife's parents. Maybe your wife's parents. Oh, man. So I was walked out the door into the hallway, and I started down the hallway looking for a phone so I could call my mother-in-law. And gentlemen, that is one call you never, ever want to make, but I made it. The call took about half an hour, and it was not pretty. After the phone call, I'm pacing back and forth in the hallway because I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I am helpless. I'm depending on other people. And then I thought, wait a minute, there is something I can do. I'm in business. I'm in sales. One thing we do in sales and in business is we make deals. We bring two parties together. We make a mutually beneficial agreements. So I reached out to my higher power and I said, you know what? If you will save my wife now, I will cut you a deal. I will be a better person. I will be a better husband. And those days, I had plenty of room to be a better husband. And I said, and I'll be the best father on earth. I'll be the best father on earth. And then the kicker was, and I'll donate blood regularly. So that was the deal. If you save my wife and you save her now, then I will do all those things. So I sat down in a chair, nodded off. Hours go by. I mean hours. Finally, a nurse comes out, grabs me, walks me into the delivery room. My wife has color back in her cheeks. She's sleeping peacefully. My daughter is there with her, and everything was fine. And all's well that ends well, right? So 20 years go by. 20 years, 2 decades. It's a November night, cold, chilly. I hear a knock on the door. Bam, 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 bam. Now it's 10:30, so the knock wakes me up. 10:30 on a Sunday night. I walk over to the door, flick on the light, open the door. There's a police officer standing there. Tells me that my son, my youngest child, my son, is in a hospital in Bremerton, Washington, 8 hours away. He was in a serious accident, and one of his lungs are being removed. So we hop into the car, we as in my wife and I, drive 8 hours to get to the hospital. Now, during those 8 hours, all kinds of things are going through my mind, and one of them was the deal I cut 20 years prior to that. Because I donated 2 units of blood in 20 years. That's one every decade. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a whole lot. I'm going to ask you to donate 4 a year. Just 4 units a year. That's it. Just 1 a quarter. I did, in that last 2 decades, 2. That's it. We get to the hospital. I find out that my son needed, or actually took 13 units of blood. 13 units of blood. By the way, my wife took 8. 13 units of blood. Luckily, there was plenty of blood available for him, and there was no problem. The first thing I did when I returned home, the very first thing, is I signed up with Inland Northwest Blood Centers to have a checkup, a mini physical, and see if I qualified to give blood. I gave my first donation in October, and actually, excuse me, I gave my first donation in November. My next donation will be coming in about 56 days. So I am asking you to join me in giving blood if you can. If you cannot, I understand. But there's a difference between cannot and will not. There's a difference between feeling good and not feeling good. Giving blood makes you feel good. You can save 1 to 3 lives on 1 unit of blood. 1 to 3 lives. So please, I implore you to donate blood. Thank you.